Yes, that's right. I haven't shaved in days. Looks like I'm going to be here home through the rest of the week till Chuan gets back, and then she can take over babysitting contractors and estimators and visitors and guarding the house and stuff for a while. But structural engineer was out today. That was a long inspection, and unfortunately, we're not really expecting any results from that for a week or sometime next week. He did tell me he was not terribly busy and he could probably knock it off in a couple, 3 days. So maybe Monday. They can't do any major work until that's in. But I gave you some examples of what he found. So of course I've already shown you this, the obvious crack, and I've shown you the slip off of the foundation. But we've come back here to the window, which is where I found damage to. But then our engineer found damage to, and it's very hard to find, but he was looking for it. And see if I can find it now. Yeah. So there's crack damage all the way to here, which is another, X number of feet away from the window. And coming around here to the back of the house, he found some damage. Well, you can't really see it, but in other words, down at the foundation level at the bottom on the back side of the house. Now that's 20 feet from the impact point. He also was able to take a probe and probe underneath the block wall all along here under the brick and between it and the foundation. So it's a substantial amount of impact damage. So it'll be fascinating to see what his report is. So far. But yeah, they're not going to be able to do anything until they have his report. And unfortunately, that probably won't be until next week, unless I'm really, really lucky. And even then, they probably won't be able to start anything until next week. But they are coming out to do some work. And that's because, and let's just hop inside and I'll show you. He was not at all happy with the structural supports that they put in here. Of course, the roof is being held up on the block, and here's the block. And whereas we've got this set of 2x4s, they're holding up, quote unquote, the ceiling. That's not doing anything because that's not a joist. I knew that along the way. He thought, as did the contractor who was doing the actual work, that this was doing the job, but it turns out it's not actually, there's nothing actually resting on it. So this is not holding this block wall up, and they need another structural support back in there holding this up to keep the ceiling from ultimately falling down. He didn't say it would be, it's going to collapse today, so we're expecting them tomorrow to shore this up. And they're also going to do something with it this is just a huge heat zone coming in here. They're going to do something with it to try to cover it up to keep my air conditioning in and help with the electricity bill, which is potentially going up due to my air conditioning flowing out this hole. So that is where we are so far today. I am going to do my damnedest to have something else to talk about on this episode of Tedium Unlimited, because it's been too interesting. I need something tedious. And I think a trip to Burger King might be just the right answer.
The cheese that goes crunch. Okay, you first, Michelle.
Well, it tastes like macaroni and cheese. It has a bit of crunch. And it tastes like Cheeto dust, except for like
Dust.
not watered down, but
Flowery.
yeah, that too.
That's what it is. And you?
The taste of macaroni, that part's okay, but I don't like this at all.
Okay, well, we've reached the next phase of... I hope that was just garbage popping. What we're on about here. As you can see, I've built a trellis work of beams holding up the block. That's good, and that's supposed to actually hold up the wall. But they've also brought in these screw jacks, and they've put a beam across the ceiling where the rafters are going this way, and put screw jacks in as a secondary hold. So that's another piece wrapped up for a while. I gather they're going to send another team out to plastic this up to help keep the air in. Rain, just what we wanted. Get the humidity up. High humidity, high heat, good combination. Actually, we need the rain, but I'm not too crazy about the fact that some of the electrical wiring is exposed, etc. So even though the circuit's dead, I'm not crazy about that. Maybe tomorrow, if it's dry, I'll put a bag around it or something. I've decided to treat myself for lunch. We came to the Texas Grill, where they serve one of, if not the best, chicken fried steak in town. It's a place I never come here for dinner. It's the only restaurant in the world I don't go to at dinner because they serve too much food. I have a massive, well, you can only see it with one hand, but from the side of my head over to my hand here, chicken fried steak for lunch, which is at my limit. For dinner, you get two. It's too much food. Anyway, it's really good. They sell a lot of chicken fried steaks. I promised I was not going to talk exclusively about that damn hole in the wall today, so I am not going to. And no, I haven't shaved. What is that printer doing? I mentioned the other day the Apple Pencil and the bad tip. And I said I would be annoyed if I had to go into the Genius Bar to get that fixed. I did have to go into the Genius Bar, and I was annoyed, but I just wasn't nearly as annoyed as I was by the hole in the wall, and so I didn't bother to talk about that. But they solved the problem. Lesson in customer service. Apple still came through. And they always have for me, and I will give them that every level. But when I was chatting with them online, and it was a type chat on the weekend, that's what I originally was trying to figure out, even if this is covered, because this is sort of a disposable item. They sell replacements if you need them, and it comes with a replacement. So by default, what you buy comes with two tips. One of them was defective, and it just seemed to me that, well, look, it shouldn't be defective if I got it out of the box, and that's why I asked about it. And they were very confused. They didn't say, gosh, I'm confused. They were just, it took them a long time. They had to consult. Oh, I'll be right back. And then, went away for 5 minutes and came back and said, well, we'll be happy to replace it, but we can't do it online. And they got me an appointment, and they got me in. And I went in. The guy who helped me had no clue what to do about it. It's like, well, we've never even had anybody with a problem with an Apple Pencil yet. So you're like the first person to come in with an Apple Pencil problem. And yes, we could replace the whole pencil, but then we'd have to send that one back and it's just the tip. And it's like, I don't know what we're going to do about it. And but he was forthright about it. And then he went into the back, and eventually he came out with a new unopened dip, and he said, "Here you go." It's like, we don't actually have any procedure for what to do in this case, but we had one of these back there, and there you go, and I was out the door. So it's repaired. Of course, I haven't tested the new one because it's unopened in the package. So a year from now or whenever this one goes bad, I don't know, wears out, it's not like I don't understand, but okay. Anyway, Apple for the win. Chuan comes back tomorrow night, and that's good. I'm missing her a lot. The kids are missing her. It'll be good to have her back. And not just because, it's been a long time without her. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to show you the latest updates on the wall, and I'll show you in there so you can see the latest updates on the wall. The latest in the saga, as you can see. Oh, look, my shadow. Oh, there's my shadow. It's gone. Okay. The latest you can see is that they have covered it over with insulating material, and that's because it's going to be days before they can do anything more. And that's the unfortunate part. I think I've already mentioned that, but I mean, this just confirms it. It's buttoned up. I did find something, and I'm going to open it up. I found it outside, and I haven't had the chance yet, but this was amongst the rubble. And I've gotten far enough opening it to find that it is the Arizona Republic from August 1960. And so I'm going to spend some time trying to get this neatly opened up and free of bugs if it has any. And then I'm going to see what exciting things were happening in 1960. I was hoping this was going to be a nice, clean tripod shot, but it's not because I can't really make this work out. Now, here is that newspaper. Let's see if I can come around here so the shadow's not on it. There's the paper. It's very wrinkled. I'm letting it sit overnight, and then I may put some books on it or something to try to flatten it out. It's from August 28th, 1960, and it, unfortunately, I was hoping that there might be something interesting to read in it, but it's a damn sports page, so it's absolutely nothing but useless crap. Alright, that's half a lie. This one side over here, so basically newspaper page, four pages, right, folded over. One page is the travel page, and there's some stuff there about cruises and stuff, and I might try to read that and see what swinging people with hats were doing. It's really funny. The illustrations of adult males are actually wearing those same stupid hats the hipsters wear now. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, the weird thing is that the paper's from 1960. Now, why is that a weird thing? Well, because it's a bit of an anomaly. This house was built in 1949. Now, when and I've always thought this house was weird. I love my house, but I mean, it's weird. This room I'm in is set down. Some of the houses in the neighborhood, this is a garage, a one-car garage. In other houses, it's been converted to a spare room, and then they've added a carport. Well, the difference is that my house doesn't look like it's been converted. You know, when you've got a brick house and somebody takes a garage door and removes it, it's usually pretty obvious because, of the way they fill in the wall. Right? There's an obvious door that was once there, especially when the brick is still exposed. Not true on this house. And the brickwork is of a pattern that, if they did it, they did a spanking good job. So when the structural engineer came out and he spent a lot of time looking over the brickwork, his first assessment was that this was a recent conversion. But the more he looked at it, the more he came to the same conclusion that I have, that it's a conversion, but it was done when the house was made. Because the wall that would have been the garage door wall has no trace of brick repair or brick filling in a wall or a door. So we are working on the assumption that the bricks are indeed the 1949 brickwork on this house. However, the inside of this room is done in drywall, whereas the rest of the house is done in plasterboard, which is more consistent with 1949 work. So, but now that we've got the wall down, well, you can't see it here, but the brickwork on the inside was painted white. So it looks like this room was unfinished white brick, or unfinished red brick that had been painted white, and then somebody had come along and put drywall on it at some point in the future. So maybe in 1960. I'm not sure when drywall became, a thing, but that's a possibility. The other weird thing is that is the only piece of paper. It was balled up with the size of a baseball, and it was out there in the rubble with the rest of the bricks. There are no other pieces of paper. When you look in the busted up wall, there's no place that looks like people would be stuffing paper or anything. It's just this stray piece of paper that was obviously buried somewhere in there. And it does have... let's see if you can see it here. I can't tell if you can see it here. It's got a paint ring on it. And a bluish paint that's obviously someone has set a paint can on it. And I'm wondering if they just were setting a paint can on it, do it, and then chucked the bundle up and threw it in the wall or behind the drywall or something. Although I can't imagine there was enough room for a ball that shape. It's very strange, and I've not seen any evidence of that color paint anywhere here at this house. Anyway, that's it for the day. House updates, and as promised, more tedious stuff proper for the vlog. And remember, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.